The void beyond Mars shimmered with anticipation. On board the Aegis, Admiral Myra Yang stood at the Hollow Bridge's panoramic viewport, studying the incoming signatures. For weeks, strange perturbations had danced across sensor arrays, faint gravitational waves and bursts of hyperlight energy that defied conventional physics. Now the source loomed ahead, the deific armada, numbering over 100 ships, each vessel vast enough to eclipse small moons and sleek as a blade forged from darkness itself. Tension in the ranks. Lieutenant Commander Vasquez cleared his throat. "Admiral, life signs aboard these ships are unclassifiable. No carbon-based readings, no electromagnetic emissions consistent with known technology. Perhaps they've transcended," muttered Captain Alina Sato of the science vessel An's Horizon, her eyes fixed on unfolding schematics. "Or they're cloaked in a biomolecular matrix beyond our scanners." Yang folded her arms. "We greet visitors on our own terms or not at all. Open all possible channels. I want translation protocols running on every frequency. Senior linguists, prepare for first contact." In the ready room, Ambassador Theo Malik reviewed centuries-old xeno-diplomacy manuals. None contained precedents for beings claiming divinity. His jaw tightened. If they truly consider themselves gods, we must tread carefully. Any misstep could spark a war on a scale we cannot hope to survive. The hymns of creation moments later, a chorus of resonant tones washed over every speaker in the Sol system. The harmonics were neither music nor noise, but something deeper, an echo of the universe's birth. On Earth, statues quivered in museums. Skyways glowed with auroral pulses. Across Luna Base, technicians paused, transfixed. Children playing VR games on Callisto dropped their headsets, eyes wide with awe. On the Aegis's bridge, screens visualized the waveforms, fractal patterns that blossomed and then retreated in perfect symmetry. No machine could replicate such beauty. "Madam," said Vasquez, voice hushed. "It's affecting sensors at a neural level. We're all feeling it." Yang inhaled. "Compose yourselves. Let them speak their piece." She keyed the communications console. "This is Admiral Myra Yang of United Nations Starfleet. State your names and intentions." The first revelation, the holo display flickered. Where static had been, now stood a figure taller than any human, limbs slim and elongated. Their skin rippled like liquid starlight, constellations shifting across its form. Robed in a mantle of cosmic dust, they bore no weaponry, yet the aura of authority was palpable. Golden eyes opened. For a heartbeat, time itself seemed to pause. "I am Arakiel," the being intoned, voice like thunder rolling through empty halls. First voice of the Celestials. "We are the architects of worlds, the sustainers of life, the arbiters of destiny. We have come to uplift lesser species, to guide you toward perfection." Behind the figure, the hologram pulled back. Dozens of worlds orbited a vast, luminous nexus. Planets once barren now bloomed with forests of crystalline flora. Sky swirled with iridescent storms. The Celestials spoke of gifting humanity with cures for disease, engines that bent light, and the secret of immortality itself. Humanity's defiance, even as wonder spread through the fleet. A knot of unease tightened in Yang's chest. She had grown up on stories of Occam's razor. The simplest explanation is usually correct. Divine beings or invaders cloaked in god tales. "Your generosity is noted," Yang replied. "But the Soul Accord forbids unilateral terraforming or ecological manipulation of sovereign worlds. Show us the proof of your claims, allow our scientists on board your vessels, or stand down." Arakiel's lips curved in the faintest hint of condescension. "Proof is for the uncertain. Faith is the currency of the enlightened." On the communication bridge, alarms sounded. Unidentified charged particles, millions strong, were coalescing around one of Jupiter's moons. Analysis confirmed. The Celestials were already at work re-engineering the moon's ice crust into a vast energy prism. Admiral Yang tightened her grip on the console. "So it begins," she whispered, more to herself than to the room. "They believe their power is absolute. We will show them the strength of human will." Gathering the old guard in the hangar of Luna Base, the ancient HMS Resolute lay dormant, a relic of the Great Outer Rebellion. Its hull bore scars from battles no living officer had fought. Yet in its battered frame, Yang saw hope. "Retrieve Captain Elias Novak," she ordered. "Recommission the Resolute. If they call themselves gods, let us test their mettle against human steel." As the warship's engines ignited in the darkness of space, a message rippled through the fleet. Humanity would not kneel. The deific armada might span light years, but so too did humanity's resolve. Under starlight, both alien and familiar, the stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the ages. The HMS Resolute sliced through the void on retrofitted impulse drives, its aged hull groaning under the strain of renewed purpose. Captain Elias Novak stood on the bridge, bathed in the cold glow of star map displays. Around him, a hand-picked crew of engineers, marines, and veteran officers moved with quiet precision, each aware that they were humanity's first and perhaps only line of defense against the Celestials, awakening the beast deep in the engine room. Chief Engineer Farah Chum monitored the flux capacitors. "Captain, the gravitic stabilizers are holding at 98%, she reported over the intercom. "Railgun capacitors are fully charged, and we've integrated the stealth plating. We're clear for engagement." Novak inclined his head in satisfaction. "Well done, Chief. Let's remind the universe why the Resolute earned her name." With a rumble that startled even the bridge crew, the warship's antique fusion cores roared to life. Exhaust ports vented, plumes of ions shimmering into the black. Long dormant gravity thrusters pulsed, and the Resolute slipped from Luna's shadow into the glare of Sol's light, into the lion's den 500,000 kilometers ahead. The celestial flagship and its escort of 50 gleaming war jewels waited. Their golden hulls formed a semicircle around the planet Calypso II, which now glowed emerald under terraformed forests and glittering rivers. Admiral Yang's voice crackled in Novak's headset. "Resolute, you're clear to proceed. UNS Aegis will engage on my mark. We need a breach point." Novak studied the celestial formation on his tactical holomap. "Their shields overlap in a lattice pattern, but there's a seam here." He tapped a slender gap between two escort vessels, about 40 kilometers long. "If we punch through there, we can flank the flagship." "Understood," Yang replied. "You have 20 minutes before I commence my assault." Novak looked to his crew. "Lock turret bearings on that sector. Arm gravitic disruptors on the dorsal mounts. It's time." The storm unleashed. The Resolute leapt forward, phasing through its stealth bubble. Sensors blinked as the celestial network registered an intruder. 1,000 voices raised a cacophony of hymns turned war cries, and the flagship's shields flared to life. Rippling gold energy lances converged on the Resolute like 1,000 spears of light. They struck, but the stealth plating diffused their power, turning direct melees into sizzling grace fire. The warship stalled, then surged again, plunging into the shield seam. With precise timing, Novak gave the order. "Fire all railguns." High velocity slugs tore through the thin point in the barrier. The escort vessels shuddered as coulters of superheated metal punched holes through their armor. Sensors shrieked, energy cores overloaded. One by one, they spiraled into the vacuum, their hulls fracturing like glass. "Direct hits," cried Weapons Officer Tanaka. "We're through the line." Now within striking distance of the flagship, the Resolute unleashed its heaviest ordnance, gravitic disruptors. Pillars of warped space bent around the enemy hull, tearing its structural integrity. The flagship convulsed, its once impenetrable surface fracturing under the assault. A captain's resolve on the Resolute's bridge. Alarms blared as retaliatory fire pounded the ancient ship. Deck plates buckled. Conduits sparked. A railgun slug slammed into the starboard flank, and crew members were thrown off their feet. Novak's gaze was unflinching. All hands, brace for impact. Keep the pressure on the flagship, no mercy. Below decks, medics rushed to wounded Marines. In the ops center, engineers rerouted power, sacrificing internal lights so weapons could recharge faster. Every system that could feed the fight did so, driven by the crew's steely determination. The fall of a false god back on the celestial flagship. Arakiel's golden eyes flickered with shock. They had faced wars before, stellar rebellions, cosmic insurrections, but never had any foe weaponize spirits so fiercely. They should not, Arakiel whispered, voice cracking for the first time. Mortals cannot. A final gravitic salvo tore through the flagship's nexus chamber. Energy feedback cascaded in a blinding flash of violet light. For an instant, the void glowed as if the ship itself were forging a supernova. Then, with a thunderous shockwave that rattled every vessel in range, the flagship imploded inward, collapsing into a singularity of light and dust. In the aftermath of the blast, silence reigned. The escort vessels, bereft of their command, drifted aimlessly before retreating into the void. Victory in the void on the Resolute's bridge. The crew stared at the empty expanse where the celestial armada had been. Then, slowly, cheers erupted, shouts that rang through the corridors and echoed across channels to Earth, and Luna. Novak allowed himself a brief smile. "Report," he said. The comm officer's voice was hoarse with emotion. "All ships retreating. The flagship is gone." No sign of resistance. Admiral Yang's voice crackled moments later. "Resolute, this is Aegis. You did it. You turned their god into dust. Humanity owes you its gratitude." Novak straightened the creases on his uniform. "We did what we had to, Admiral. Let it be known, humans stand against any who claim divinity through force." As the Resolute powered down weapons and set a course back to Luna Base, its battered silhouette drifted through the stars, a testament to human grit. The baptism by fire was complete, and in the crucible of war, the legend of the Resolute was reforged anew. The aftermath of battle hung in the stark black of space like a breathtaking aurora. Among the shattered husks of celestial war jewels, the HM's Resolute drifted, its hull pocked with fresh scars, yet still upright. Captain Elias Novak stood on the bridge, flanked by his exhausted but triumphant crew, as Admiral Yang's signal flickered onto the main holoscreen. "You carry the torch of every soul who ever dared defy tyranny," Yang's face said, gratitude shining through fatigue. "Make your way home. We'll begin recovery and reconstruction." Her image faded, leaving a silence broken only by the hum of the Resolute's systems. A world transformed weeks later. The lush jungles of Calypso II glimmered beneath the orbiting UN's Aegis, now repainted in Starfleet colors. Terraforming fields still pulsed with strange golden energy remnants of celestial technology. Scientists and xenoecologists in pressure suits studied the bioluminescent flora, marveling and taking meticulous samples. Dr. Alina Sato stood knee-deep in luminescent ferns, her datapad buzzing with readings. The Celestials didn't just seed life, they rewrote DNA on a planetary scale. But it's unstable. Without their constant energy input, these ecosystems could collapse. Ambassador Theo Malik watched from the observation dome. "So they gave us paradise on loan. We must tread carefully or risk repeating their overreach." On the skyline of Earth, Monuments rose in tribute to the Resolute's crew. In Luna City's Grand Plaza, a soaring obelisk bore engraved plaques listing every officer and marine lost in the fight. Families, veterans, and curious onlookers wandered beneath banners that read, "In defiance, we are invincible." Diplomacy among the stars, with the celestial command shattered, the remaining voices drifted in isolation. Aracul's final broadcast, recorded in the flagship's black box, was eventually recovered. In it, the being's voice wavered with new respect. Mortals possess a spark no divinity can bestow hope. We retreat to learn what it means to choose rather than command. Human emissaries prepared missions to the furthest reaches of space, seeking out any surviving celestials. Their goals were twofold: to ensure no lurking threat remained, and to open a genuine dialogue about cooperation without subjugation. On board the UNS Horizon, Captain Sato convened the first council of human and celestial delegates. Cloaked in humility rather than robes of starlight, the Celestials shared fragments of their ancient history, a tale of a dying civilization that once sought to preserve itself by imposing order on the chaos of nascent worlds. Ambassador Malik cleared his throat. "We have learned that power untempered by empathy is tyranny, no matter how advanced the wielder. Let us build a new chapter forged not by might, but by mutual respect." The Resolute's return. The Resolute returned to Luna Base on a cloudless morning. As it glided across the landing ring, crowds erupted in cheers. Survivors in medical bays donned their uniforms once more. Families embraced veterans who'd walked through the fire and lived. Novak disembarked last, pausing to run a hand over the hull's battle scars. He spotted Chief Engineer Chen greeting her repair teams, Marines marching in formation, and Weapons Officer Tanaka quietly wiping soot from her railgun controls. A voice called his name. Lieutenant Vega approached, her face alight with relief. "Welcome home, Captain. You did it." Novak nodded, emotion catching his throat. We all did it. The Resolute belongs to every one of us." A new dawn for humanity. In the weeks that followed, Starfleet restructured its doctrines. The Resolute Protocol became the new standard. Any race, no matter how powerful, would be met with measured caution, rigorous diplomacy, and unwavering readiness to defend human sovereignty. Back on Earth, schools taught the story of the Celestials, not as gods, but as a lesson that no advance in technology could substitute for integrity of heart. Across holo-lectures and interactive simulators, young cadets trained in the arts of strategy, negotiation, and moral philosophy. Late at night, beneath the Luna sky, Admiral Myra Yang and Captain Elias Novak stood side by side on the observation deck. The stars twinkled countless points of light that no longer intimidated them. Yang exhaled softly. They called themselves gods. Yet it was our humanity that conquered them. Novak traced a constellation. "We proved that hope and courage are the greatest weapons of all." Above them, the void stretched on full of mysteries and dangers, but now also illuminated by the promise that, together, humanity could face whatever lay beyond. The age of false gods had ended. A new era dawned, guided by the steadfast hearts of mortals who knew, even among the infinite cosmos, one human warship was enough to change destiny.